I recently read a story about a moving example of compassion that the author witnessed. He wrote, "I read recently of a teaching hospital that found one of its young resident students had a marvelous effect on children. They responded to him with delight. They would do things for him and yield to his ministrations in a way that they wouldn't do for any other person on the staff. They assigned a nurse to discover what the secret of this young resident was. And it wasn't until the second week when she was on night shift that she found out the secret. It was simply this. Every night on his last round, he would kiss, hug, and tuck in every one of the children. It was in this act of compassion that he made his contact. And it's this compassion that belongs to Jesus that reaches out to us. It's this thing about him that charms us more than anything else. Perhaps one of the most compelling attributes of Jesus that we read about in the Gospels is his compassion for those in need. And doctors and medical staff have a unique opportunity to demonstrate Christ-like compassion and care to hurting people in a way that many of us don't on a daily basis. They have an incredible privilege to enter various levels of brokenness and help people in some of their most vulnerable times and times of greatest need. And they can make a significant impact in the hearts and lives of those they're caring for. That's why I'm so excited that you've joined us for today's show. We're going to be talking to a doctor who has made it her mission to bring the compassion of Christ into her medical practice. You're watching One Day Closer, where we're learning together how to use our one day closer to eternity to bring hope and purpose to many. Let's meet our guest for today. We're here today with Dr. Chaminie Wheeler, founder and doctor at CCC Health. Chaminie, it's so great to have you on the show. It's so great to know you personally as my doctor, and just to be able to share your story about how God's been using you in the lives of others through your medical practice. So thank you so much for being on the show.
It's an honor to be here.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So Chaminie, share a little bit just so our guests can get to know you about your history, your life, and your family.
Sure. Well, I was born in a little village in Sri Lanka, halfway across the world, to a Buddhist family. At age 11, I came to the United States because there was a civil war going on in Sri Lanka. And I came here actually by myself. I left my mom and dad and my brothers in Sri Lanka.
At 11?
At 11, and I lived with my aunt and uncle to grow up. I came here on a student visa because they were afraid universities were going to close. My family is very education driven. So I was the oldest, so I came to the United States. Quickly going through, at age 12, I went to a summer camp. That's when I found Jesus.
Oh, wow.
And my family actually finally got their permanent residency visas when I was a junior in college.
Oh, wow.
So God gives us journeys and helps us our life to become resilient. And I think my childhood prepared me for what was going on and to be able to continue to, I think my childhood really is what the advocacy part of what makes me who I am.
Yes. God has definitely given you that passion for advocacy, and that's amazing because 11 years of your life with your biological family, and then almost the same amount of time without them.
Right.
Until you're reunited. Wow. That's a lot. Tell me about how God used Happy Club and Operation Smile to give you a desire to become a pediatrician.
Sure. So in high school, a Happy Club was where I was a part of, and our sole mission was to fundraise for Operation Smile. Operation Smile is a ministry that goes across the world repairing cleft lips and cleft palates in children and give them a chance and a smile. So ever since then, I always even tell my kids, smile is the prettiest thing you can wear.
Yeah.
And so that fueled my desire, saw these doctors who really had a ton of compassion and made personal sacrifices to bring a smile.
Wow.
And so I wanted to be a pediatrician and continued that pursuit, and there was actually a time during medical school I'm like, wait, maybe I don't want to be a pediatrician. But then during rotations, even like in an OB-GYN rotation, I realized I was drawn to the baby and not the mom. And so, God gives you discernment, and so that child advocacy was a huge part of it. They're the most vulnerable in our society, and to be able to be an advocate, to have discernment, to understand. I love the fact that they can't necessarily tell you what's going on. You have to really investigate and figure out and get them to be okay with you even listening to their heart.
Yes.
And I adore children, so it was good.
Well, I've seen it because we're part of your practice, and I've seen it with our boys. And we do. We love you, and we appreciate your heart for kids.
Thank you.
Yeah. And tell me, how did you meet your husband, Greg?
So we met in college, and we were just friends at that time. So I told you I became a Christian when I was at age 12, I went up in a summer camp, but I really did not have that discipleship, that change, that ministry. I went to Catholic school. I knew that it was there, but it didn't really grab a hold of my heart. And in college, my husband had a very incredible newfound faith with Christ.
Oh, wow.
And I remember for one Christmas, we were just friends, but he gave me a Bible. And I gave him a sweater, and I was very offended that he gave me a Bible because I gave him a far superior gift. But it was that Bible that really was what the Lord used 2 years later during a time of adversity in my life. Literally, the sun came through the door, shone directly on that Bible. I had never actually opened the Word of God by myself until then. I opened it. It landed on the book of Job. I read it from cover to cover, the book of Job. And from that moment on, I have never looked back.
Wow. It's amazing how God, the people he uses and the situations to bring us to himself.
Right. 2 years later, I opened that Bible.
2 years later. Wow.
Yes.
And now you're married. Greg also is a doctor.
Yes.
You're a doctor, and he's founded CC Health with you.
Right.
So, wow.
It's been a great journey. I didn't even realize I was in love with him when we were in college. He didn't realize it. After college is when we realized, and we went our separate ways. We ended up going to the same medical school, but at different times.
Okay.
And now we have 3 wonderful boys, Daniel, Isaac, and Matthew. They have Sri Lankan middle names and Christian first names, and very thankful at this moment in time. They are following the Lord with all of their heart. Pray that they continue that path.
Absolutely.
But they are right now.
Oh, that's so great.
Yes.
Well, thank you. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and dive more into what God's doing through your practice.
It's wonderful.
Stay with us. We'll be right back to talk about compassion that leads to action.
Watch Lighthouse TV wherever you go. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. Search Lighthouse TV online on your streaming device, or go to our website, lighthousetv.org, for more information.
Welcome back to One Day Closer. We're here with Dr. Chaminie Wheeler from CCC Health, talking about how compassion can lead to action that spreads God's kingdom in this world. So Chaminie, we were just hearing your story and how God grabbed a hold of your heart, and just the passion that I've seen so evident in your life, and that He's given you to advocate, not just for children, but also for things that you were seeing in the healthcare industry. Tell me how God's been using that to start your practice.
Absolutely. So I grew up, went to residency, was always as a pediatrician, you get, trained at these big, large centers.
Yeah.
And so I only worked at a large center, corporate medicine. And you try to do the best you can for the patient in front of you. And there's a lot of restrictions, but you get a list of patients, you round on them, you do your best. But it was really during the pandemic that we recognized the complete erosion of the doctor-patient relationship, and that our hands were being tied to do exactly what we know is in front of it's for our patients. And it was, decisions were being made that didn't make sense, and if we questioned them, we were told we can't question a decision. Like, if a patient was, a husband coming in is allowed to kiss his wife, but he has to say goodbye so his wife can labor alone. Or, separating moms and babies when just in case the mom, until her COVID test came back, if it was positive or negative.
Yeah.
But to separate them until we're waiting. All those crucial bonding times and all of those things that are so important. These decisions, and then they would get reversed, and then they would come back, and there was like no consistency. Felt like we weren't using science. But the biggest thing was that we were not able to actually say what we were thinking. And our personal liberties were just being eroded, and everybody was just saying that's okay. And what I recognize with that is, how is it that in healthcare our liberties are to be eroded without so much pushback?
Yeah.
And it really is because that doctor-patient relationship has already had an exponential increase in its erosion. And that really, there's tons of distance between the doctor and patient. There's the, administrators and insurance and regulators that all dictate patient care.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, was like that aha moment that you realize, you know what? I went to medical school to do what I know is best for my patient in front of you, but I have all of these other voices that are restricting me from at least having a conversation with my patient, and let the patient and I make that choice, make that decision together.
Yes.
So, and so for me, in the advocacy from children, I realize our patients need that advocacy. So we, and our whole goal and our mission with CCC Health and the direct primary care movement is to restore that doctor-patient relationship. A lot of people talk about all kinds of financial parts and this and that, and I firmly believe those are different tentacles in the healthcare that needs to be fixed, but the core of it is the relationship.
Yeah.
And that the heart of it that needs to be fixed. And if we put the doctor and patient back together as the sole decision maker for all healthcare decision, and make insurance-patient relationships separate, we can change it.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And for myself, and especially younger generations, have never experienced. And thankfully, we had one really good doctor prior to transitioning to you and Greg that engaged more. But I was told that one place that I had a certain time limit and they didn't want to hear, they couldn't help me with the other thing I wanted to talk to them about because of my appointment. And so it's just amazing that through our time being part of CCC Health, that you're available, that you care, and of course that you're believers, you're praying with us, and you care about our family. And I've shared in the past just our family has significant struggles with anxiety, and you care about that. And so it's just been an incredible just blessing to us, the genuine compassion, and praying for us. So
it's wonderful though, right? We know God is the great physician. He is the source, you know. I am a vessel that he uses. He allowed me the blessing of being trained in an area to be able to have some knowledge, but it's really, he created our bodies.
Yeah. He
is the one who knows how to bring our bodies back into homeostasis. We assisted and we help it with the knowledge base we have, but we really don't know how to take care of the human body like he does.
Yeah.
Not even close. Infinitesimally. So it's knowing that, and knowing that that he is the great physician. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's freeing, because you know that yes, you're responsible, but you know that as long as you seek him, your patient seeks him, healing happens.
Yes.
There's no grace in that.
I love that. And tell me about, so people who've never experienced this, what could and what's your dream for a patient-physician relationship? What can that look like, and what should it look like from your perspective?
So for CCC Help, our goal is that our patients again have access to their doctor. Meaning that with that access, what does that mean? If something happens, our patients text us. They don't have to go to an urgent care. Why do we have urgent care that have popped up all over the place? Because our patients are sick and they don't have access to their doctor. Because corporate medicine has recognized that the more distance you put between the doctor and the patient, the more profit it generates. It takes 30 seconds to prescribe a medicine, 30 minutes not to prescribe.
Yeah.
It's when you only have 7 minutes to evaluate a patient, you actually don't get to use the knowledge that you learn in medical school. We learn that, you learn all the information and you funnel it down into a diagnosis, a treatment plan. But when you can't ask all those questions, you're much more likely to refer. And our patients get treated as body parts, system by system, instead of a one person.
Wow.
And so it's all about the relationship,
Yeah.
And in that relationship, and I think about, God himself, he created us for that relationship. And he created us for a relationship, and everything follows from that. And so it really wasn't this big revelation that in society, whatever we're doing, it's about the relationship.
Yes.
So
it's all on the relationship. How have you seen that happen in your practice? Just be able to share the compassion and build the relationships.
It's been wonderful. Because of our membership model, we are able to bring our patients back as often as we need. We don't have to follow insurance dictates says that this lab cannot be repeated in 2 months. It has to wait 6 months. Those types of things. So and because the membership runs the business of it, our patients don't think that you're asking them to come back so that you can collect another copay. And because of that, we have so many great success stories of just in the last year and a half of being open, patients just getting better. And it's just it is medicine, but it's more than that, and that is an investment in their health. And yes, they get sick, and you help those illnesses here and there, but it's really more than that. It's overall trajectory of, we call it, to grow old gracefully. So yes.
Yeah, really helping the person and what they need, and we're one of those stories where we've experienced that in such meaningful ways.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, thank you. And also just the fact of me transitioning to a support raising ministry, self-employed, and insurance was one of the most difficult parts of that transition. But being able to be a part of your practice has helped us in that way too, tremendously. So
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But and this isn't without sacrifice though. So a lot of people think, doctors make a ton of money, but you had to sacrifice a lot to follow God's calling in this direction. What are some of the things that you had to sacrifice to do that?
Absolutely. So during the pandemic, when we took our stand, it was very difficult. We were swimming upstream against the grain when we were questioning. And to the point, my husband and I, we got down on our knees and we prayed, Lord, what do we do? And, and it was about faith, and it was trusting him. And we said, we're willing to give up whatever it takes. And so we put our house on the market. We lost our jobs, put our house on the market. And that was a time where property was selling very, very fast.
Yeah.
But by God's grace, our house just would not sell. We thought we were going to, but God took us that. It was almost like, with like God wants to see, Abraham gonna sacrifice Isaac. He wants to see your faith. Are you gonna trust in him? And I think he never intended for us to lose our home, but he wanted us to see what were we willing to sacrifice to take a calling that he had for us. It was hard, very hard, but with sacrifice comes great reward. God supernaturally provided a job opportunity for me from somebody halfway across the world to do wellness. With a phone call that came onto my cell phone, and I honestly thought it was not real. But it ended up being real, and it's been a wonderful relationship. My husband, we have a cabin in West Virginia, so he actually ended up traveling to West Virginia to all of this stuff, and this been it was a hardship on our family.
Yeah.
But God is God. He's allowed us to purchase a building, to renovate it, has opened the floodgates to bless us. We haven't really advertised, but we have patients that join us every week.
Yeah.
And it's not advertising, it's really just doing the good job with the person in front of you.
Yeah.
So sacrifice built, and what I am thankful for, which I didn't imagine at the time, our children, like my oldest is graduating from college, my second one is a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
And my youngest is a sophomore at Allentown Central Catholic. But they got to see what it means to walk by faith.
Yeah.
Not by sight.
Yeah.
Hebrews talks of that. Hebrews talks about how faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So that was the journey, and that journey is hard, but God loves us.
Yeah.
And he wants nothing but blessings for us.
Yeah.
But he wants us to just trust him.
Yeah. Wow. And believe it or not, we only have about a minute left. I would love to dive into more. But so as we close, what would you share with viewers about, you took a step of faith and you're watching God provide in awesome ways. What encouragement would you provide just from your experience to those who are in a similar situation? They see God directing them somewhere, and maybe they're afraid to take that step.
If God directs it, it is hard to take that step, but control that heart rate, it's okay. And I don't just say take that step, but jump on it. Go for it. If it's God, don't hold back.
Yeah.
And hold on to he is the one who calms the storms. And hold on to that tailcoat and just go for it. And you will be blessed beyond measure. And that is, I truly feel we've lived through the parting of the Red Sea because of this.
Yeah, you were able to see God show up for you.
Right.
Taking those steps of faith and sacrificing, and even Greg foregoing, as you're doing this, he gets offered a bigger position that he chose to not do, so he can focus on caring for your patients.
I know he forgave the director of the ER because he wants to promote this movement. To change healthcare.
Well, thank you so much, Chaminie, for sharing your story.
Yeah.
This is such a blessing, and I know it will be to our viewers as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Stay tuned. We're going to come right back and talk about how we can apply this to our lives.
You're watching Lighthouse TV, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This station will feature uplifting faith and family programming. Programs focusing on defending your faith, defending your freedom, and living as a believer in today's culture. To find out more about this station and to watch original content, go to lighthousetv.org. Lighthouse TV, positively different television. Watch Lighthouse TV wherever you go. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. You can view our in-house studio productions on demand, or watch what's on the station right now with our 24/7 live stream. Search Lighthouse TV online on your streaming device. or go to our website for more information. Visit lighthousetv.org to stay connected. There you can find out what's currently on the air and coming up, how to watch in your area on cable, satellite, broadcast, or streaming devices. Watch past programs or our live stream. Follow us on social media and learn more about the station, our hosts, and our programming. Lighthouse TV, positively different.
It's no accident that Luke, a doctor and the author of the Gospel of Luke, emphasizes the compassion of Jesus in his writing. Throughout his account, Luke highlights how Jesus didn't just see the suffering of the poor, marginalized, and outcast. He entered their lives with deep compassion. Jesus didn't stay on the sidelines. He stepped into their pain, bringing healing, hope, and love. As followers of Jesus, we're called to do the same. We're surrounded by people in need, whether physically, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, and God calls us to be vessels of His compassion in a hurting world. Just as Jesus took the time to notice and care for the least of these, we're invited to do the same. Here are 3 steps we can take today to begin compassionately entering the lives of those around us tomorrow. First, move toward others in love. It's easy in our fast-paced society to move through our day without taking notice of those around us. Try to make it a point of moving a little more deeply into the lives of those around you every day. Start small, a smile, a hello, a word of encouragement, a cup of coffee. And second, be intentionally attentive. Pay attention to those God has placed in your life. Keep an eye out for times when they may need a word of encouragement or an act of kindness. Listen beyond the words that they're saying to you and identify the feelings and the meaning behind the words. Identify needs. Third, serve them. Show love in tangible ways, whether it's providing a meal, a listening ear, or helping with something that they need to take care of. And finally, pray and follow up. Lift others up in prayer, asking God to meet their needs and to guide you in expressing His love to them. Then follow up and let them know that you've been praying for them and ask how you can pray for them more. By showing compassion, we reflect Christ's love and bring His light into the lives of others. And I would encourage you to jump out in faith and do something scary. Share compassion to someone else, another human being, in a way that makes you uncomfortable so that they can see the love of Christ in and through you. Thank you so much for joining us for One Day Closer, where we're learning together how to use our one day closer to eternity to bring Jesus-infused hope and purpose today.